Happy Saturday, friends. The Digital Liberation Army. You all out there on the interwebs. It's me, HesherZero. You haven't seen me since Halloween, and that's okay. I've been busy, been doing things. And one of the things I've been working on, a number of things I've been working on, are various little projects. And frankly, I am quite excited for many of them, only some of which are ready to be debuted in some form or fashion. Tonight, we will be debuting one of them, and we'll get to that momentarily. All right, this is a very sort of impromptu stream tonight. Kind of debated whether or not I wanted to go live. Decided, hey, why not? I was trying to experiment a little bit with another platform, a little tickety-tockety platform, and try to co-stream, dual stream on that, but I think that may have been affecting my rate here. So maybe we just save that for another day. We'll see. Been messing with audio stuff, been messing with all sorts of things. Man, you know, if it isn't one thing, it's another. So today, we're going to get into the main reason I wanted to do this. We're debuting what I call Imperialism. I didn't come up with the name. In fact, it's a quite popular trend on the YouTubes. If you follow one of the compatriots, such as Bordeaux or Dean's World, you might be familiar with the concept, except this time around it's a little bit different. Today we're improving on what's already a pretty great concept. Like I said, Dean's World, Bordeaux, they've got it down. They do an awesome job with the sports side, with the concept in general, all the things that surround it. But our Imperialism is new and improved and different, made for a different audience. Audiences of all kinds across this beautiful land. And it's cool. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's get to it. We're gonna get to it right now. Nice. There we have it. Here I am in my little circle shaped, kind of rounded rectangle. We are debuting Imperialism Select Edition. Now, you may be asking yourself, Hesher, what is Imperialism Select Edition? Even if you were familiar with the football version or baseball or whatever, basketball, this version is a little bit different. And some of the mechanics are, I would say, improved to some degree. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to get to the rules. This is how you play. First, each round starts with a wheel spin. An attacking state is chosen, and then a defending state is randomly chosen based on what states the attacker borders. A prompt is given to the audience to vote on. That's you. The winning state takes the losing state's territory and repeat until there is only one state left. Now, that's pretty standard in terms of the imperialism concept in general. But I will say, here on Hesher's stream, here, the way we do things, this is a natural evolution, an improvement on something that was already incredible, and shout out to those who do it so well. But after all, this is HesherZero. We like to do things a little bit extra. So I give you the map. Here is the map. Now, and the other guys much respect to them, of course. They've got it in a Photoshop type program or something. They go in and they color in the states. They have the logos, whatever the case. This one is the Select Edition. This is just state versus state. This isn't a football team versus football team. This isn't a baseball team, basketball team, whatever. This is what you might say a superlatives edition, perhaps, or something along those lines. And the other mechanic is what I'm quite proud of. And instead of a wheel spin or an arrow spin, it's a little bit of a, I don't know, how would you put it? It's kind of like a jackpot kind of, wheel. I can't think of the term. Anyway, you'll see. It's pretty great. So we have the attacking and defending states as well. We're going to go ahead and get to the wheel. Here we are with the wheel. We're going to go ahead and spin. We're going to start. We're starting now. Spinning for the first attacking state of the night. Who do we have? It's Utah. Utah is the attacking state. Our first attacking state. Boom, here we go. Look at that. No arrow, no guessing. There's no guessing as which direction an arrow is pointing. It's based location-wise to exactly what states border what. And our question for our first head-to-head matchup is the state most likely to fine people over nonsense, or for nonsense. The state most likely to fine people for nonsense. Utah versus Nevada. We're going to run the poll. We're running it. We're running it. Hopefully that triggered. Oh, it didn't trigger because I forgot one step. So we're going to go on cam real quick. And you'll see right here, got the little countdown. You'll see that across all of them. It's my first time going live with this. I'm actually pretty excited. I've been working on this for a cool minute. It's actually been quite the project. And I will say, it's been a much bigger scope of a project than I even intended. When I first started, it was going to be just your standard sort of Imperialism. It was very similar to this, but with like sports games and whatnot. But as I went on, I have more ideas. Of course, we have the Select Edition, the Classic Edition, which is with the sports. We'll get to that eventually. I'm working on some tweaks for that. So we'll see how that one does. And then an extra special one that I've been working on behind the scenes for quite some time. And that's a much bigger scope, and we'll have to get to that another time. But back to the wheel. We're going to run the poll. Let's see if this triggers correctly. Hopefully it does. Otherwise, I don't know. It's not triggering correctly. Shame, shame, shame. I'm not really even sure why it wouldn't, to be frank. Interesting. I don't know why it isn't triggering. Honestly, these are the things that, there's always going to be gremlins. Always going to be gremlins. Let me see if I can add something here. Test. There we go. Now there's a poll. Utah versus Nevada. The state most likely to fine people for nonsense. Gonna take the time, wait to vote. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the Christmas music playing, the Heshmas music playing in the background. Yours truly composed these. Of course. Would you expect anything less? No. Of course not. All right. going to go ahead and move to the map because the winner is... Wait for it. Nevada. Nevada, baby. Nevada has won. As you can see on the map, Utah now takes up both territories there. It's a bit hard to see with the oranges. Utah has Nevada and Utah's territories. Pretty cool. It's an SVG, man. No painting, no erasing lines. Nice, clean, crisp lines, colors, automatic territory taking. So we're gonna spin for another attacker. That's our first matchup for the day. Who do we have? Boom, it is Idaho. Idaho is our attacker. Wyoming is the defender, the defending state. The state most likely to make math optional. Idaho versus Wyoming. Idaho versus Wyoming. Which one is going to make math optional? Let's go ahead and run the poll. You can choose. Poll is up. Choose the winner. Idaho or Wyoming. It's interesting. Math, I guess, is kind of optional. Are we talking about in school? Are we talking about in life? In general, is math optional? I would say it is already, but which one is going to be more likely to make math optional? Is it Idaho or Wyoming? You choose number 1 or number 2, Idaho or Wyoming. Man, that's a tough match up there. I'm gonna say, well, I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all decide. Let you decide first. All right. The winner has been chosen. It is Wyoming. Wyoming. Watch the board there. Watch the map. Watch Wyoming right there above Colorado. Oh, it's taken Idaho's territory. Now on the leaderboard, Wyoming and Utah both with 2 territories. We're going to go back to the wheel. We're spinning for a new attacker. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? It's Alaska. Now, of course, with the contiguous U.S., Alaska and Hawaii don't technically border each other or other states, but you gotta add some risk-like connections. The state most likely to get banned from hosting events. I can tell you who I'd vote for. The state most likely to get banned from hosting events. You've got Alaska, you've got Hawaii. Your vote is what will determine the winner. Alaska or Hawaii, the state most likely to get banned from hosting events. I think there's a pretty clear winner here, but there are arguments to be made for both and why they might get banned from hosting events. Really, it's up to you. It's the debate in chat. We look at it and we say, okay, well, what are the I don't know, what are the stakes here? What are they doing to get banned? That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm going to tell you the winner right now. Going to the map, the winner of the state most likely to get banned from hosting events is Alaska. Alaska has taken Hawaii. Alaska has now taken Hawaii right there on the map down the bottom left. Alaska, Utah, Wyoming, both with 2 territories. Back to the wheel. We're spinning for the attacker. Who's it going to be? Who is attacking next? It will be Maine. Maine is now attacking. And since they only have one state that borders them, it's New Hampshire. So, the state most likely to be banned from a national event. So very similar questioning here. We're going to go ahead and run that poll. Poll is up. Maine versus New Hampshire. The state most likely to get banned from a national event. We're going to look at the map there. As you can see, Maine and New Hampshire right in the top right of the country. There they are. Back to the wheel. You have 40 seconds left to vote. The state most likely to be banned from national events. Maine versus New Hampshire. Very similar to the last question. You could make some arguments for either one. Maine versus New Hampshire. Maine being very isolated up there. New Hampshire, very similarly. We got 15 seconds. Get your votes in now on the Twitch poll. Maine versus New Hampshire. I see what we're doing here. All right, back to the map. The winner is Maine. Maine most likely to be banned from a national event. As you can see, right there. Up at the top, Maine has taken New Hampshire's territory. Now, 4 states with 2 territories. Back to the wheel. We spin again for a new attacker. The next attacking state will be Kansas. Kansas is our next attacker. They will be targeting Colorado, the state most likely to have their tourism mascot canceled. Get the cancel culture hitting the state tourism mascots. Running the poll now. The poll is up. That is Kansas versus Colorado. Just over 50 seconds to vote. I figure that gives people plenty of time to debate, to figure their answer. Some it may be easier than others to decide. But hey, we've got 2 states going head to head with one question, one prompt between them. The state most likely to have their tourism mascot canceled. Who is the mascot, the tourism mascot for Kansas or Colorado for that matter? Let's find out. We're gonna look it up. Kansas doesn't have a single official state tourism mascot, according to the AI overview. Just Colorado. Colorado has one. The Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep is Colorado's. But the winner of this one, the state most likely to have their tourism mascot canceled, if they even had one, would be Kansas. Kansas has now taken over Colorado's territory. Kansas is now the 5th state with 2 territories. Back to the wheel. Spinning for the attacker next. Who's it gonna be? We're down to 46 states. Missouri is the attacker. Missouri will now take on Illinois, the state least likely to lie about inventing something. The state least likely to lie about inventing something. Missouri versus Illinois. Your votes are being tallied now. 60 seconds to get your votes in. My dog is flipping out, flicking. Dio, come here, little dog. He won't listen to me. He's doing his own thing. There's things outside that he's probably gonna bark at. That's okay. That is okay. All right, we are coming up on 30 seconds to get your votes in. The state least likely to lie about inventing something. Missouri versus Illinois. Missouri versus Illinois. I will tally the votes in 15 seconds. Get those votes in right now. 10 seconds. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? And the winner is... Back to the map. Illinois. Illinois has won. They have taken Missouri's territory, now up to 6 states with 2 claimed territories. Back to the wheel. We spin again. We are spinning and spinning. North Dakota. North Dakota is our attacker. They will be taking on South Dakota, the state least likely to ruin a movie by insisting it was filmed there. North Dakota versus South Dakota, the state least likely to ruin a movie by insisting it was filmed there. Back to the map. Gonna run the poll. The poll is running. We got ads rolling in 5 seconds. Here we go. The new poll is up. If you're subbed, that's good. Vote in the poll. North Dakota versus South Dakota. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Coming up on 30 seconds here. 30. Back to the wheel to see the question more clearly. The state least likely to ruin a movie by insisting it was filmed there. Coming up on 20 seconds here. 20 seconds. Who's it gonna be? North or South Dakota? Man, that's a tough one. Least likely? All right. The winner. The winner is North Dakota. North Dakota. North Dakota wins again. No, actually, that's the first time they've won. They are now the 7th territory. We've had 7 unique matchups so far. Back to the wheel. Spinning for the next attacker. Who's it going to be? It is going to be Nebraska. Nebraska taking on Wyoming. There we go. Wyoming up again. The state least likely, the state most likely to run entirely on cheese power. Now, is that like their food? Running the poll now, by the way. The state most likely to run entirely on cheese power, is that their food, or is that they've harnessed the energy of cheese? That's a good question. I, for one, run primarily on cheese. I'm not from Nebraska or Wyoming, of course, but I could see where one of those could potentially harness the power of cheese, whether of themselves or in a sort of a corporate, utility kind of way. 20 seconds here. 20. Nebraska versus Wyoming. Coming up, the state most likely to run entirely on cheese power. Cheese power, ladies and gents. I like it. I'm a big fan of cheese. Back to the map. The winner is Nebraska. Nebraska has taken over. It is in the lead with 3 total territories. Nebraska with Idaho, Wyoming, and its own. In the lead with 3. Back to the wheel. Spinning for the next attacker. Who's it going to be this time? New Jersey. Jersey is up. They are taking on New York. The New York-New Jersey head-to-head matchup. The state most likely to honk before the light turns green. Running the poll now. Who's it gonna be? The state most likely to honk before the light turns green. New Jersey or New York? Man, most likely? On one hand, New York, obviously with the population as high as it is, you could make an argument that there's more opportunities for people to honk before a light turns green. But maybe it's more of a reflection on a personality type. Maybe if there's less people, but more or higher percentage of people who are more likely to do that. That's an interesting question. New Jersey, New York, the state most likely to honk before the light turns green. 10 seconds to get your choice in. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? In 3, 2, 1. The winner is New York. Ladies and gentlemen, New York is the winner. Boom, New York takes New Jersey. They are on the board with 2 states claimed total, including themselves. Back to the wheel, spinning for an attacker. Who's it going to be this time? It's going to be Oregon. Oregon is taking on Utah. Utah is up. The state most likely to arrest someone for singing in public. The state most likely to arrest someone for singing in public. Oregon versus Utah. The vote is on. You have 50 seconds left to get your votes in. Who's it gonna be? You tell me. Oregon, Utah. The choice is yours. Coming up on 35 seconds here. Now 30 seconds. The vote is up. You can make a choice. You can make the argument, is it Oregon? Is it Utah? Which state is most likely going to arrest you for singing in public? I don't know. I have one in mind. But your vote may differ. But the results are in now. Here they go. The winner is Utah. Utah wins, takes another state. They are on the board now with 3 total territories: Oregon, Nevada, and Utah. Utah in possession of 3. Back to the wheel, we spin again. Spinning and fighting all the way down to 1 state. Montana is next. We've been spending a lot of time out west. Next is Nebraska. Montana versus Nebraska. The state least guilty of rewriting history in its favor. Poll is up now. Get your votes in. Less than 60 seconds to vote. The state least guilty, of rewriting history in its favor. Doesn't mean they haven't, perhaps. But who's least guilty? Huh? Does anybody know? 30 seconds here. Montana versus Nebraska. The state least guilty of rewriting history in its favor. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Man. Least likely. That's a good one. It's kind of difficult. You got to think outside the box for a lot of these. I'm probably, hopefully, in the majority here with my thoughts. And the winner is Nebraska. Nebraska on the board now with 4 total territories. Look at that, taking up a big portion of the Northwest there, northwest. Nebraska is its own panhandle entirely. All right, spin for attacker next. Iowa. Iowa is taking on North Dakota, the state most likely to rename months just for fun. The state most likely to rename months just for fun. Iowa or North Dakota. We're going to take a look at the map again. You see North Dakota with 2 territories already. Iowa with 1. We're going to get the poll running here. The poll is running less than 60 seconds to get your votes in. The state most likely to rename months just for fun. Iowa versus North Dakota. What would you name a new month, or how would you name a month? Which month would you rename? I'm trying to think. Of course, one would have to be Heshsimber, or Heshvimber, or Heshtober, perhaps. That's probably one of the good ones, I would say. If you would vote, that would be lovely. Lovely. Here we go. We're coming up on 5 seconds here. Get your votes in 3, 2, 1. And the votes have been cast. And the winner is Iowa. Iowa now taking over 2 more territories. Taking North and South Dakota in control. Now firmly tied for 2nd place there. Here we go. We're going back to the wheel. We're spinning for the attacker. Who's it gonna be? It's Virginia. Virginia is taking on Maryland, the state most likely to train squirrels to deliver mail. The poll is now live. The state most likely to train squirrels to deliver mail. Virginia versus Maryland. Get your votes in now. Coming up on 45 seconds. The state most likely to train squirrels to deliver mail. I think I know. But really, it's up to you. I think squirrels would do a pretty decent job delivering mail. You know, if they were slightly smarter, maybe. I mean, they know how to bury stuff. They can climb. They can jump. They can get to mailboxes. They can fit in small spaces. They get right in there. I think they would be a decent little helper. All right, get your votes in. Here we go. And the winner is Virginia. Virginia, watch this. Kapow! That's the sound it made right there. It's kind of odd. Virginia now with 2 claimed territories. Alabama there down at number 10, just with the alphabetical. Just to explain the way that this works, of course, it's ranked by total number of territories. So the higher number of territories, the higher you are on the leaderboard. Secondly is if you are tied, it is the most recent territory with that number. So Iowa is the most recent state to have 3. And then after that, it's ranked by alphabetical order. That's why Alabama there is at number 10 with just 1. So just to explain that a little bit. Spin for the attacker. The next attacking state will be Mississippi. Mississippi on deck. Taking on Alabama. There it is. The state most likely to fake tourism numbers. The poll is live. Get your votes in. Mississippi versus Alabama in the state most likely to fake tourism numbers. Who's it going to be? Mississippi? Alabama? You decide. We're going to go back to the map briefly. As you can see, Alabama with only 1 territory. Mississippi with 1 territory. The state most likely to fake tourism numbers. Mississippi versus Alabama. Mississippi versus Alabama. Alabama versus Mississippi. The state most likely to fake tourism numbers. The vote is up to you. We're getting those votes in now. Who's it gonna be? You tell me. Why would you fake tourism numbers like that? I don't know. But, hey man, you know, I don't make the rules. We do what you want to do. You vote how you want to vote. And the winner is Alabama. Unfortunately. No. As if you know, you know. Alabama now on the board with 2 territories claimed. Now the top 10 is all states with more than their original 1 territory. Take a look here just to recap. Nebraska with 4 total territories. Iowa with 3, Utah with 3, Alabama, Alaska, Illinois, Kansas, Maine, New York, and Virginia with 2 apiece. Next, spinning for the attacker, back to the wheel we go. And Minnesota up against Wisconsin, the state most likely to make karaoke a legal defense. Sir, my client was singing karaoke. Or could you claim karaoke? It's like, pleading insanity, except you are pleading karaoke. You could say maybe somebody, a type of person who might sing karaoke, could have their own sort of alibi or legal defense in that sense. But which state is most likely to make that a legal defense? Does it make sense? Of course not. My voice cracked. It doesn't make sense. Minnesota, Wisconsin, head to head. Choose the winner. Choose them now. Or else. I don't want to threaten you, of course. The state most likely to make karaoke a legal defense. Not a big karaoke guy myself. It's fun occasionally. And the winner is... Boom. The winner is Minnesota, making karaoke a legal defense. Minnesota, they're taking Wisconsin's territory. Fantastic. Next, we're going back to the wheel, spinning for the attacker. Who's it going to be next? Who is the next attacking state? It's Virginia, once again. Virginia on the attack against Delaware. Delaware is the defender, the state most likely to make Taco Tuesday a holiday. Shout out Incoherent, what's going on? Running the poll. Which state is the most likely to make Taco Tuesday a holiday? Is it Virginia? Or is it Delaware? Interesting. Is it white people tacos? Or is it authentic tacos? I can't imagine either one really, claiming true authenticity. For sure, white people tacos. I agree, definitely white. Listen, I love white people tacos. Do not get me wrong. I grew up with it. I'm all around it. But I do enjoy the authentic, of course. But is Virginia or Delaware making Taco Tuesday a holiday? I'm all about tacos in general, of course. Not in the millennial kind of way, in the sense where I'm like, oh my god, tacos. Like, all day, forever. Like, people put that shit on their dating profile. Alright, we got a winner. It's Virginia. Virginia making Taco Tuesday a holiday. Virginia now on the board with 3 total territories. Hey, you got to do, the you know what I'm talking about, the millennial thing, it's like, oh my god, tacos, I love tacos. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. We're going to spin for the attacker next. Next is going to be Alabama. Alabama taking on Arkansas. Arkansas is the defender, the state most likely to hoard all the pickles. Which state is hoarding all those pickles? The poll is live. Get your votes in. Them pickles, though. That's right. Alabama versus Arkansas. Who loves those pickles the most? Man, I don't know. I mean, I love pickles. I was just talking to somebody the other day. They said, now granted, they were a youngin'. I believe they were freshly 19. And they told me they'd never eaten a pickle whole. They'd had sliced pickles. They say they don't like them, but they'd never even eaten just a pickle, like in its full form. It's wild. I don't know. I'm a picklologist. I'm about it. I see you are too. Incoherent? Absolutely. I love most things that are pickled. You know, honestly, I can't think of too many things that I've had that are pickled. And we have a winner. Wow, that got really aggressive. Going to the map. The winner, Arkansas. Arkansas wins the state. Loving some pickles. Boom, Arkansas with 3 total territories claimed. Now, look at that board. That's nice. Nice. Getting the... There's some kind of weird border gore going on there, but it's all good. It's all good. Pickled okra, you say. You know, I've actually never had pickled okra. I've had pickled ginger. Pickled... Wow, what else? I mean, onions. I'm sure there's probably something else. But, like, no, you know, pickled pig's feet or anything like that. No, thank you. I don't know. I'm not that southern. Indiana is our next attacker. Indiana versus Illinois. The state most likely to survive the longest in space. I don't really know. Does that mean they're just being ejected into space as a state? I don't know. Yeah, pass on the pig's feet. Absolutely. All right. The state most likely to survive the longest in space. Now, are they in a colony? Is it just these 2 states floating around in space? I mean, technically we already are. But if you were just to take the population of each state and put them into space, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought. I mean, I don't know. I'm at a loss. There's also, you know, there's a lot of room for interpretation with these prompts. So I think that adds a little bit of flavor, pickled flavor, perhaps, to to your vote. You may look at it a little bit differently. All right, and we have a winner, and that winner is Indiana. Indiana takes over. Boom, right there. Now on the board with 3 claimed territories. We're coming down the pipe. I don't know. I don't know what I was about to say there. We're coming down the mountain when she comes. Back to the wheel. Let's just get going. Let's get back to the attackers and the defenders. Get to our next prompt. New York back up again. Now this time attacking. New York versus Connecticut. The state least likely to use tractors in a NASCAR race. Least likely to use tractors in a NASCAR race. The poll is up. The poll is up. Get your votes in, ladies and gents. The state least likely to use tractors in a NASCAR race. Tractor race. I don't know. Something like that. I mean, yeah, I think there actually is more of a obvious one here, but I don't know. Maybe they get wild. Maybe I don't want to say, upstate somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You know, I always forget there's an upstate New York, let alone picturing a tractor there. Yeah, I watch a guy on YouTube called 99 Projects, and he's kind of like a upstate New York good old boy, essentially. And it's just interesting. I mean, they're about as, they like fixing trucks and stuff. Anyway, I don't know. Interesting just seeing that region and the quote unquote kind of rednecks they have up there. Anyway, we've got a winner. And that winner is New York. New York, least likely to use tractors. Oh, yeah. He's kind of blown up a little bit. He had like that cabin rebuild. And, I don't know. I just find that stuff kind of fascinating. I don't have the money or time to go out and do that, nor do I have the skill to some degree for that. But, it's all good. It's all good. All right, back to the wheel. Spinning for the next attacking state. Live vicariously, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I like a lot of makers and people who build stuff and refurbish stuff. It's fun. All right. The state most likely to bring up your driving record, Nebraska versus Indiana. I don't really know what that means. Just in general, they're just going to be like, hey, by the way, your driving record sucks. Slow down, pal. I don't know. Poll is up. Let's get the votes in. Let's just see. I've never been to Nebraska. I've driven through Indiana. Nobody brought up my driving record. I wasn't even driving. So, I don't know. Nebraska versus Indiana, the state most likely to bring up your driving record. Just in general. Gonna show up one day and they're just like, hey, by the way. I don't know. Something. Alright, just under 30 seconds. Oh, God, excuse me. Jeez, I'm burping. I ate a bowl of cereal earlier like an adult. For dinner. That was my dinner. I made biscuits and gravy this morning. And had that for breakfast and lunch. I didn't want it again for dinner. Back to the map. The results are in. It's Nebraska. Nebraska is most likely to bring up your driving record. Just kind of talking about stuff. They're going to talk about corn and your driving record. Nebraska up there dominating the map across with 7 total territories. 7 for Nebraska. A solid lead. I like it. Seeing it all come together here. Back to the wheel. Spinning again. What we got? What do we got? What do we got? It's Michigan. Michigan versus Nebraska. Nebraska back up. They can't escape. They take over land. Yeah. That's part of it. Yeah, absolutely. It's the imperialism aspect. All right, the state most likely... Oh, it's the Taco Tuesday again. In all of my testing, I don't think I've gotten the same question like this more than once. But there might be a duplicate now that I think about it. I'll have to look into it. That's okay. We love tacos around here. The poll is up. The state most likely to make Taco Tuesday a holiday. Michigan versus Nebraska. Get your votes in. I like it. Which state is more in on tacos? As we've established, we're all in on tacos here in the Digital Liberation Army. Here on the HesherZero stream at twitch.tv/HesherZero. 20 seconds left. Taco Tuesday. Michigan versus Nebraska. The music I have playing, this Christmas music, it just like is all over the place with the genres, and it kind of makes me laugh. All right, we've got a winner, and that winner is Nebraska, taking over yet another territory. Now the text is flying over states it doesn't even own. Look at that. All right, Nebraska is up to 8 total territories. It's pretty solid. They're getting up there, but anything can happen. It is any state's game at any moment. It could be 49-1, and that one state might take it. That's what's I don't know. That's what's kind of crazy about it, I guess. I don't know. That's why I love the imperialism format. It's up to chance. Nebraska up again. We can't get enough of Nebraska. The Cornhuskers right here versus Kansas. Oh my God. The state most likely to have a cow as its team mascot. Powerhouse. Absolutely. Nebraska says, come at me. Let's go. I'm not done taking territory. All right. The poll is up. Nebraska versus Kansas, the state most likely to have a cow as its team mascot. Which team? That's up to you. We got Cornhuskers versus Jayhawks. We got that going. I don't know, some other D2 college teams or something, probably somewhere. You know, whatever. All right. We are just under 30 seconds. Nebraska versus Kansas, the state most likely to have a cow as its team mascot. Man, I don't... Either one, truly. But, you know, it's up to you. Here we go, we're coming down to the wire. Back to the map, and the winner is Kansas. At least the Kansas mascot is an animal. True. Boom! Kansas now with 10 territories. 10 total territories. All right, we got an ad break starting here. Ad starting now-ish. If you haven't subscribed, use that Bezos money with the Twitch Prime, of course. Recapping here with Kansas, Arkansas, Iowa, New York, Utah, Virginia, Alaska, Maine, Minnesota, and Arizona now on the board. Going back to the wheel. Spinning for the attacker. Who's it going to be? Minnesota back up. Minnesota versus Kansas. Kansas now the big dog. Poll is up. The state most likely to have more barns than people. More barns than people. Minnesota versus Kansas. Who's it going to be? More barns than people? I think we know the answer, but you know. That's a lot of barns, though. You know, when you think about it. That's a lot of barns. All right, just about 20 seconds here. 20 seconds. The state most likely to have more barns than people. Minnesota versus Kansas. 45 seconds left in this ad break. Coming down to the wire here. Who's it going to be? Back to the map. The winner is now Kansas. Kansas taking over. Watch that territory. Minnesota disappears. Bam. Iowa in an island. Iowa on an island. Is an island on an island. Surrounded by Kansas. All right, look at that. Back to the wheel we go. The wheel, each little slice getting a little bit bigger with each elimination. Back spinning that wheel. West Virginia is up. West Virginia taking on Ohio, the state most likely to rename months just for fun. I feel like we had this prompt earlier. We did. It's repeating prompts. What is happening? The state most likely to rename months just for fun. The poll is up. How dare it? I'm like, I gotta look at my list, I guess, and be like, hey, why are we repeating prompts here? But, you know, I don't know. It's kind of whatever. I guess you could have the same prompt over and over again, and it would just be like, out of the 50 states, which one is most likely? I guess it still technically works. Whatever. Coming up on 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Boo, boo, boo. All right, let's go. West Virginia versus Ohio. I don't know what that voice was. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. I feel like the stream, has the bitrate been okay for everybody? I feel like it's been kind of wonky, getting unstable here. All right, the results are in. Back to the map. Ohio has won. Ohio has won. Boom, Ohio taking over West Virginia. Little red blotch right there on the map. E for me it has, though I'm on that work internet. Well, yeah, I don't really know. It says my bit rate is too high. I guess I need to adjust some things next time. Apologies for any wonkiness. Like I said, I've been dealing with some technical gremlins lately, and it's no fun. It's no fun. Audio stuff, etc. All right. Next, Tennessee. Tennessee versus Virginia. The state most likely to turn an accident into a holiday. That says a lot. I don't even know what that even means. An accident, like a car accident? Like, I don't know. Bitrate causing issues. Son of a... I don't know. Let's see. If you're experiencing some networking or encoding issues, please let us know what issues you are experiencing below. I don't know. I wonder if I threw it off. It looks good on your side, though. Okay. Or, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's just like getting these weird spikes. Kind of watching it. Interesting. I don't know. I think I need to adjust my audio settings. I think that's the main thing. All right, we've got a winner. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Back to the main thing at hand here. Tennessee wins. The state most likely to turn an accident into a holiday. Boom. Man, that's some ugly borders there. Tennessee reaching to the East Coast. Tennessee now reaching all the way to the East Coast. Now with 4 territories, up to number 2. Number 2. Back to the wheel, spinning again. Spinning until we only have one state left. Vermont is up. So Vermont's first time. Vermont versus Massachusetts. The state most likely to host a county fair in a parking garage. The poll is now live. Vermont versus Massachusetts. The state most likely to host a county fair in a parking garage. I mean, that would be a weird place to do that. Which state is weirder? Which state is most likely to do that? I don't know. I've never been to either place, but I could only assume that certain circumstances may lead to having to have your county fair in a parking garage. So be it. You know, so be it. And that's okay. That is okay. That's... I don't know. All right, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Here we go. Back to the map. And the winner is... Vermont. Vermont. I realize I know very little about many states. I mean, you know, like I said, it makes you think. It makes you think outside the box about certain aspects of certain states. You know, it's just different. It's a different kind of thing. I liked this idea, you know, because I'm a fan of the imperialism concept. YouTubers, guys like Bordeaux or Dean's World or whoever else, you know, those guys that do that with like college football, Madden, those kind of things. This is one of my takes on it. I do have plans on doing stuff like that as well with the simulations, but I felt like this was a hell of a lot more viewer friendly in the sense like you are directly involved with the decision making and whatnot. I think that's a lot of fun. Back to the wheel. Spinning for the next attacker. Georgia. Georgia is up. Georgia's taking on Florida. The state most likely to win hide and seek. I mean, Georgia versus Florida. Florida man. Georgia man. Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know. The state most likely to win hide and seek. You know, as you can see, we've got like the kind of spinny thing. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Like a slot machine kind of thing. You know, the guys who do Imperialism, they just spin an arrow and there's all this guesswork. I was like, no. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be like, well, technically the arrow lines up if you put it right here and it just barely touches this corner. No. Taking all the guesswork out. It's all based on location and borders and the coordinates of each. Your boy here. I thought all this through. Okay. All right. Let's pick that winner. Back to the map. The winner is Georgia. Most likely to win hide and seek. Bye-bye, Florida. Boom. All red Georgia. Georgia on the map with 2 total territories. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see. Who hasn't done anything yet? Washington, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, all haven't battled yet. So that's a thing. All right, back to the wheel. Spinning for the attacker. Good old Oklahoma. That's right, brother. California on the attack. Taking on Alaska. The state most likely to hide evidence. I don't know why I said that so weird. Evidence of their own mistakes. The state most likely to hide evidence of their own mistakes. California versus Alaska. I mean, once again, you kind of go back to like, all right, is it a population kind of thing? Is it a state government thing? You know, one state has absolutely way more people. So is it like a person-to-person kind of thing? Are the individuals more likely to hide evidence of their own mistakes? Or are the state as a whole, the majority of people? Or like I said, is it a government thing? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. All right, we're coming up on 15 seconds. 15 whole ass seconds. All right. And back to the map. The winner is California, most likely to hide evidence of their own mistakes. Boom. California now with 3 total territories. Alaska took over Hawaii earlier. So California now owns Alaska and Hawaii. Kind of some weird borders here. You got to do what you got to do with the 48 contiguous versus the 2 non-contiguous. Back to the wheel. You know, the border states of California and Alaska, you know. All right, Iowa back on the board. Iowa only has one place to go, and that's Kansas. They got to go at Kansas. The state most likely to be mocked at the Olympics. The poll is live. Get your vote in. The state most likely to be mocked at the Olympics. Mocked on a national stage, a global stage. Which one is going to be mocked? Made fun of? Made a fool of? A buffoon? A buffoonery? I don't know. You know, who's going to make an ass of themselves or something probably because they're being mocked for something. Probably a good reason. Iowa versus Kansas. Iowa versus Kansas, the state most likely to be mocked at the Olympics. You can make arguments for both, truly, for many reasons, I'm sure. I don't really hold many grudges against states, so I can't really tell you what I would make fun of them for necessarily, because everywhere sucks. So, back to the map. And the winner is Kansas, taking over the territories there. Boom! Kansas now in a solid 11 territory lead over Tennessee in number 2 spot. Kansas, just a big old blob right there in the middle. Big old blob right there. All right. Still a handful of states that haven't gone up yet. Let's see who we got. Next is Louisiana. Louisiana versus Texas. 2 states that have not been up. The state most likely to cling to a lost cause. Oof. State most likely to cling to a lost cause. Louisiana versus Texas. The poll is live. Get your votes in. I'm sure there's all sorts of things that they could cling on to as a lost cause. Things that will be mocked in history. Things that will be looked back on and be like, why did you do that? You're on the wrong side of history, perhaps. Or whatever it may be. Once again, is that a state? Is that a citizenry issue? Is that a state government thing? Who knows? But we got 10 seconds to get the votes in. It's, it could be either one. Truly. All right, and the winner is Tejas, Texas. Texas takes Louisiana. Texas now on the board with 2 claimed territories. Bam. Just like that. Look at that. Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Just look at that. Look at this. Look at that. All right. The wheel. We're spinning. We're spinning. Georgia is up again. Georgia is now taking on North Carolina, the state least likely to exaggerate pioneer hardships. Interesting little one. A little prompt there. The poll is live. The state least likely to exaggerate pioneer hardships. You know, out there on the trail. Which one is going to be least likely to exaggerate? I think I know my vote. But you tell me. The pioneer. What were the hardships of the pioneers? Getting dysentery? Losing a wagon wheel? Being attacked by native populations? Deservedly so. Hey, you know, what could it be? You run out of water. Somebody gets bitten by a snake. You know, your horse runs away. Who knows? It's all sorts of hardships, but which one is least likely to exaggerate their hardships? Back to the map. The winner is North Carolina. North Carolina taking on Georgia. Boom. North Carolina. South Carolina there, just once again, an island. They have North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida now. They are number 3 on the map, on the board there. All right, back to the wheel. We're narrowing them down. We're narrowing them down, left and right here. Tennessee back up again. They'll be taking on Kansas, the gigantic juggernaut that is Kansas, the state most likely to be behind on pop culture. The poll is live. Tennessee versus Kansas, the state most likely to be behind on pop culture. Be like, yeah, have you seen the new trend, the Harlem Shake? You know, like jeez, I don't even know. Fucking be like, I came in like a wrecking ball. You're like, man, I just heard that one. That was great. I don't know. Different pop culture things Be like, oh, Team Jacob. I don't know. All right, get your votes in. Choose the winner. Going back to the map. The map is up. The winner is being chosen. And that winner is Kansas. Kansas once again crushing. Leaving Ohio and Kentucky on their own islands there. Look at that. Kansas with 19 total territories. Arkansas, California, New York, North Carolina, and Utah with 3. Maine, Ohio, Texas, and Vermont with 2. Back to the wheel. Let's keep on spinning. Let's keep them spinning, brother. Texas up again. Texas now taking on Oklahoma, the state most likely to build the best treehouse. The poll is live. Got Texas versus that OKLAHOMA. The best treehouse. Who's got the best trees to build houses in? Who's got the best treehouse knowledge? I've only built one treehouse officially. I had a hand in building one at least. Now, granted, the guys that were doing it were, it was mostly their project, but it was like 3 stories tall. It was kind of dope. Very rickety and kind of sketch, and I did not trust some of it, but I did go up in it a couple times. It was pretty dope. Yeah. 3 stories. It's crazy. All right, back to the map. The winner is Oklahoma. Oklahoma taking on Texas, defeating Texas, claiming 2 territories in one fell swoop. Look at that Oklahoma there. Big old blob. We're coming down to the last few here, really. I used to build a lot of forts, though, on the ground. Different things. Good times. Spin for attacker. The attacker is Kentucky. They only have 2 choices. Who's it going to be? Kansas. Of course. The state most likely to think it invented tailgating. Kentucky versus Kansas. Which one is most likely to think they invented tailgating? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's the sports version of tailgating rather than riding somebody's ass in traffic. That's just me. Maybe not. Vote however you feel in your heart. What does tailgating mean to you? And which state is most likely to think they invented it? Is it Kentucky? Is it Kansas? These are the questions that the philosophers of history have asked many, many times. And by that, I mean probably never, at least in this form. But that's what we do here on the stream. God damn it. All right. All right, the winner is Kentucky. Kentucky, the underdog. Boom. With 20 total territories. Kentucky, now the big dog on the map. Look at that. All right. Man, they got a lot. But here's the thing. Now they're open. They could be attacked by Washington, Utah, technically Arizona because of the 4 corners and the way that my borders work. New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Ohio. Oh, and Pennsylvania and New York. Those are all bordering Kentucky. So they could be attacked at any moment. Back to the wheel, spinning for the next attacker. Arizona. Arizona up for the first time today, taking on New Mexico. Also, I believe their first time up. The state most likely to have an unofficial raccoon mascot. The poll is live. The state most likely to have an unofficial raccoon mascot. Not an official one. That's too crazy. An unofficial mascot, though. Arizona or New Mexico? Where do raccoons reside in North America? Let's find out. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up! I'm also going to fix my earpiece and my ear. Alright. Most of North America, all the way from southern Canada down to Central America. If you were curious about raccoons. Cool. You learn something. You learn something new every day. Although, funny enough, I'm looking at a map on Wikipedia right now. That's pretty funny. Alright, the results are in. And the winner is Arizona. Most likely to have an unofficial raccoon mascot. Funny enough, looking at the map, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and like Eastern California are some of the areas least likely to have raccoons. Which is kind of funny. Aussie friend told me he had never seen a squirrel, and it kind of blew my mind. Yeah. No, that's pretty wild. You know, like the different kinds of squirrels, like the ones they have in like Europe, for example. Like, what is it? The red squirrel, I think. Any hoozles. All right, back to the wheel. Yeah, I actually saw a raccoon up close, like literally like in person for the first time, like a number of years ago. It was kind of wild. I was like, I don't think I'd ever been this close to a raccoon before. All right, Arkansas taking on Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen them around, right? But, like, I was within, like, 5 feet of one. I was like, I've never been this close to a raccoon before, I guess. I don't know. A blind raccoon? Well, that's sad and adorable at the same time. All right, state most likely to yell at customer service. Arkansas versus Oklahoma. Poll is live. The state most likely to yell at customer service. Boy, that's something. That's something. Man, a blind raccoon? That's cute, sad, and just like... I'm a fan of all street cats. Raccoons, possums, skunks. I mean, you know, skunks are kind of iffy, but, you know, actual cats. All those things, they're all welcome. That's fine. Just, you know, don't fuck anything up, I guess. All right, 20 seconds left. 20. The state most likely to yell at customer service. Arkansas versus Oklahoma. Please don't yell at customer service or anybody, really, unless they deserve it. Ended up relinquishing him to a lady. An inclusion. Oh, well, hey, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very thankful that there are folks out there that know how to take care of people and have the resources to do, or take care of animals, excuse me, and people. But these animals, you know, and have the resources to do so. All right, the results are in. The state most likely to yell at customer service is the Sooners. The Sooner State, Oklahoma. Now, number 2 in the nation. Bam. All right. Look at that. It's looking good. It's looking good. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right, back to the wheel. We're spinning once again. Those blocks getting bigger. Vermont, once again, coming up. Vermont is taking on Rhode Island. The state most likely to have the largest pillow fight. Poll is live. The state most likely to have the largest pillow fight. Vermont versus Rhode Island. Man. I think I know who it would be. I think I know who it would be. I'm just trying to imagine which state would be most likely to have the largest pillow fight. Which I hope is what you're doing as well. And if you're not, think about it. You know? think about pillow fights. Reminds me of that Dimitri Martin bit about pillow fights. I don't know. I don't want to butcher it, but it's funny. All right, 10 seconds. Get your votes in. Vermont versus Rhode Island. The state most likely to have the largest pillow fight. Back to the map. The winner is, drumroll, Rhode Island. Rhode Island. I'll be real with you. I would have picked Vermont, but that's okay. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. I'm not the one in charge. I haven't thought of that bit in so long. It's funny. I love it. All right. Rhode Island taking on Vermont there. Up there in the top right. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Hi, I'm up in the top right too. How you doing? All right. Spinning for the attacker. Going back to the wheel. The wheel. We're spinning. We're spinning. Pennsylvania up for the first time today. Pennsylvania versus Ohio. The state most likely to paint parking lots plaid. Why would you do that? I don't know. But which state is more likely to do it? Is it going to be Pennsylvania or Ohio? Ohio. Pennsylvania, Ohio. Who loves plaid more? Who's more likely to paint a parking lot plaid? I'm trying to think like just the logistics of painting an entire parking lot plaid. Because it's not checkerboard. Plaid is a more intricate design, technically speaking. So how would you even make that happen? Would you still have parking spaces? Would it be like a mural on the ground and then you'd have spaces on top of it? Oh yeah, the cost would be enormous, right? It would have to be. At least if you're going to make it like worthwhile and like stay that way. 100%. 100p, friendo. 10 seconds. Pennsylvania versus the Buckeye State. The winner is, bam, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania plaid, baby. Boom, right there. Taking over Ohio, West Virginia. Solid, solid. Right there, right there. Back to the wheel. Getting these big old chunks here. Getting them chunks. Not chunks, chunks. Spinning again. Come down to the wire, my friends. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Up again. Can't get enough. Up against New York. The state most likely to start a multi-level marketing scheme. The poll is now live. Tell me, the state most likely to start a multi-level marketing scheme, an MLM. Pennsylvania versus New York. Just, so basically, like, which one's a bigger fucking scam artist? Which one's a bigger... Oh, no, you fell for one, dude. That's rough, I'm sorry. I mean, I will say, like, the people who do it kind of know what they're doing in the sense of, like, they make it believable. Damn Bank of America account. Damn Bank of America. You're supposed to help prevent this stuff. I don't know. But yeah, no, I've seen stuff, you know, like God, what's that one, like, comedian guy that he, like, makes fake Facebook pages and stuff. And he talked about how he went into you know, like different, what's the word I'm looking for? Interviews and stuff for these MLM stuff. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I mean, like, they take it very seriously to try to take your fucking money. All right, back to the map. The winner is New York. New York, New York. Up now with 6 total territories. 6. Tied for second place, technically. I thought about having it reflect, like, you know, ties like that, but whatevs, you know. Spinning for the attacker. The attacker is Maine. Mainers out there, the Mainers. They can only attack one place, and that's Rhode Island now. The state most likely to make fireworks an art form. The poll is live. The poll is now live. The state most likely to make fireworks an art form. Maine versus Rhode Island. I mean, they kind of are. They're already an art form in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, you've seen some crazy shows. The guys that put those together, the men and women, don't want to just say guys, men and women that put those things together, there's so much to go into that. It's incredible. 30 seconds left to get your votes in. Maine versus Rhode Island. Who's making fireworks an art form? Who's perfecting it? Who's making it a staple in their culture? Either one, probably. You know, it's 50-50, right? All right, back to the map. And the winner has been chosen. And that winner is Maine. Maine. Boom, taking over the territories. Maine now with 5 territories claimed. South Carolina and Washington are the only 2 states that have not taken on any challenge yet. Let's see if we get Washington or South Carolina in the next spin. Here we go. It's Washington. Oh man, pre-watch Andy over here. Who knows? All right, Utah versus Washington. The state least likely to pretend hurricanes are a party. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, maybe if you're in the right part of the country, I guess you could have a hurricane party. I'm sure that probably exists somewhere. I've heard of tornado parties, so, you know. Washington versus Utah. The state least likely to pretend hurricanes are a party. I mean, one place definitely doesn't get hurricanes. The other, I don't think is able to necessarily. I don't know. I'm not a hurricanologist. Hurricanologist? Right? That's a thing. 20 seconds left to get your votes in. Washington versus Utah. The state least likely to pretend hurricanes are a party, dude. One year, my sister put her suitcase full of Hanson memorabilia behind the toilet. My hand still gives... Hey, man. Bopping your way through those storms. All right, the winner is Washington. Washington least likely to pretend. Bam, look at that. Washington now up with 4. We're down under 10. Under 10 states left. We have 9 states left. 9. All right, this one goes out to Hanson, the next one here. Shout out to Hanson, spinning for the attacker. Washington back up again. Could be anybody. Who knows? California versus Washington. The state most likely to have a clown mayor. Clown mayor. Live. The poll, that is. I mean, either one, really, right? I mean, you could make an argument. There's probably one state, definitely, that is more likely, for sure. I wish there was a clown mayor around me. You could make the argument that some mayors are fucking clowns, you know? Many government official, perhaps. Not me, though. I'm great. Dime a dozen these days. That's right. That is correct. Clown mayors. Washington versus California. Which one's most likely to have one? The choice is yours, honk. I wish I had a clown horn with me. That'd be cool. All right, back to the map. The winner has been chosen. And that winner is California. California. Watch the east or the west coast turn yellow. Bam. Down to 8. The final 8. The elite 8. Back to the wheel. Let's go. We're spinning. We're spinning. South Carolina up finally for the first time, taking on North Carolina. That's all they could do. Kapow! That's right. Wait, do I have a... There we go. Blast them. All right, running the poll. State most likely to tell you how to do your job. South Carolina versus North Carolina. Who's telling you how to do your job? Don't tell me how to do my job. Actually, I don't know. Maybe somebody please help. Can't figure some shit out, apparently. Then I start blasting. That's right. South Carolina versus North Carolina. The state most likely to tell you how to do your job. 30 seconds left. I've always said in my days, you know, if you ain't signing my checks or sucking my dick, you ain't telling me what to do. And really, then it's debatable. 10 seconds. Here we go. Back to the map. South Carolina, South Kakalaki versus North Kakalaki. South Carolina, the most likely to tell you how to do your job. South Carolina, boom, taking over. Down to 7 territories left. Who's it going to be next? We're going to go back to the wheel. We're going to click a button that says spin for attacker. And we're going to find out who that next attacking state is, because that's what we do around here. It's back to South Carolina. South Carolina ain't done with your shit. They're going to tell you what to do. Oklahoma, the state most likely to make time travel illegal. Don't you dare time travel in this fucking state. You hear me? South Carolina versus Oklahoma. Heaven help me if you go back in time. We will turn this timeline around. Also, which time travel logic is the most sound? Is it Back to the Future? Is it, I don't know, Endgame? You know, which one makes the most sense? I don't know. There's a lot of good arguments out there. South Carolina versus Oklahoma, the state most likely to make time travel illegal. By God, if you time travel, you son of a bitch, I swear to God, if you time travel around here, I will whoop your ass. Something like that. That's how I imagine it happening. I don't know. All right, the winner is Oklahoma. Oklahoma is most likely to make time travel illegal. That sounds about right. Definitely the TARDIS from Doctor Who, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything about Doctor Who. I'm sorry. I'm that guy. I don't know how it works. Something about wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey shit. I don't know. I tried watching it. First off, and I know I've been told I made this mistake years ago. I was like, all right, everybody's into Doctor Who. Let me see what that's about. All right. And then I'm like, well, let's just start from the beginning. Let's watch the old one. No, apparently everybody was like, don't you do that. Don't you dare. That's where you fucked up. And then I was like, okay, fair. And then whatever. I just didn't watch it again anyway. And then I watched, hang on, we're going to go back on cam for this one. So then I watched the like late 90s or early 2000s version of Doctor Who. And that was fun. I don't forget which doctor was. Don't ask me which one, whatever. And I was like, that was cool. You know, hanging out with somebody, and I was like, all right, that was, you know, whatever. And then, like, I just never picked it back up again. So I don't even know. Anyway, back to the wheel. We're going to spin. Enough about the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, flippity-floppity, dangly-jangly. We're spinning. Maine is back up again in the top 6. They're taking on New York. That's all they have to do. Take on New York. The state most likely to grade essays based on handwriting only. If you got shitty chicken and scratch ass handwriting, don't you even think about it. If you're going to get an A in this class, in this state class. I don't know. State most likely to grade essays based on handwriting only. Maine versus New York. Poll is live. If you vote, make sure that you vote in proper handwriting. By mailing it in, neatly writing everything as it's supposed to be. We'll have the results in 3 to 7 days, probably, depending. Maybe. It depends. You know, the volume of... anyway, okay. I'm just going on a tangent about the mail system. 10 seconds. Here we go. In 5 seconds, the winner. The state most likely to grade essays based on handwriting only is Maine. Maine. Boom. Another green blob on the map. We're down to the top five states. We've got Kentucky with 20 territories, Maine with 11, Oklahoma with 10, California with 7, and Arizona with 2. That's 2 for those who do not habla español. The wheel is up. We're spinning again. This is going to determine our top 4 right here. Maine back at it again. Maine said, we're happening. We're hot. We're making it happen. We're making it hot. They're taking on Kentucky. That's all they've got. Boom. Bars. The state most likely to host cat yoga in the capital. Cat yoga in the state capital of Maine or Kentucky. Which one is more likely to happen? I'm down for cat yoga. Yoga's fucking hard, man. I'm not that flexible. I tried it years ago. Yeah, cat yoga, goat yoga, dog yoga. You know, there's probably some other animals you could throw in with yoga that would be fun. 30 seconds left in the poll here. 30 seconds to get your votes in. The state most likely to host cat yoga in the capital. Maine versus Kentucky. Cat yoga, would be cool anywhere, probably. Yeah, goat yoga. It's a thing, man. They're out there. They're out there doing downward dog with goats climbing on them and shit. All right, back to the map. Maine versus Kentucky. The state most likely to host cat yoga in the capital. And the winner is Maine. Maine taking on the biggest chunk of the country. Green, orange, and yellow, really, all right there. By yoga, I just mean laying on the floor. I mean, that's my favorite kind of yoga, I suppose. Top 4, baby. Top 4, Maine, Oklahoma, California, and Arizona. It's anybody's game here, man. Anybody's game. It just depends on the prompts, you know? What kind of prompts you got coming up? I swear to God, if it's about tacos, we're gonna have a fucking cow. California versus Arizona. The state most likely to make up slogans yearly. Poll is live. State most likely to make up slogans yearly. Every year we're coming up with a new slogan. Is it Arizona? Is it California? Be like, visit Arizona. It's dry as hell. Visit California and hang out with the homeless. I don't know. There's probably something out there. Every year they come up with something new. Listen, I'm not trying to make light of the unhoused and the crisis, that is across the country, but it's kind of a thing, I guess. So, whatever. Anyway, California, Arizona, the state most likely to make up slogans yearly. Who's it gonna be? You tell me. Back to the map. The winner is California. California taking over Arizona. Look at that. The top 3. This is some of the best, coherent borders, incoherent, shout out, of any imperialism I've seen in a minute, in terms of just the kind of quote-unquote equal split. got like a Oregon Ducks colors here or something. Anyway, back to the wheel. We're in our top 3. Maine, California, Oklahoma. The state not chosen is making it to the finals. We're coming down to the wire. Who's it going to be? It's going to be California once again. California taking on one of two. Is it Maine or Oklahoma? It's Oklahoma. The state most likely to be destroyed by its own wildlife. Wow. The state most likely to be destroyed by its very own wildlife. Yeah, you've got experience with both. Which one's it gonna be? Got your two homes here, you know, the longest ones at least. California versus Oklahoma. What's it gonna be? Who is most likely to be destroyed by its own wildlife? Once again, you think, is this sort of just a natural thing? Is this like all the animals go insane and just start destroying everything? They just like run amok and like kill everybody? What is it? What does that mean? You know, is it just natural selection and things? Who knows? But the winner has been chosen. That winner is Oklahoma, most likely to be destroyed by its own wildlife. Here we go. The top 2. Maine with 31 territories. Oklahoma with 19 territories. Head to head in the final battle for the United States. Who will come out on top? We will spin for the attacker and the defender. Automatic. There's only one choice. Who's on the attack? Who's on the defense? Let's find out. We're going to let that prompt decide the final state. The attacking state is going to be Oklahoma. They're taking on Maine. The state most likely to smell like bacon. The poll is live. The state most likely to smell like that sweet, sweet bacon. That meat candy. That was my nickname in the army. Meat candy. Oklahoma, Maine. Maine, Oklahoma. The state most likely to smell like bacon. Delicious, tasty bacon. I don't think we could have ended with a better prompt. Just how silly, how fun, how delicious. Oklahoma versus Maine, the state most likely to smell like bacon. A battle for the ages. A question for the ages. An age for the ages. Okay. The winner and the dominant state is Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Oklahoma has conquered the world, has conquered the U.S. Boy, howdy. Look at that. There it is. Congrats to Oklahoma. A very rare round of applause for Oklahoma. You know, if you know, you know. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's it, man. Look at that. All 50 states claimed by one. That is our inaugural Imperialism. This is the first time I've done it live. I've had a lot of run-throughs, a lot of practice, a lot of, stamping out different bugs and whatnot. But yeah, like this, it's fun. You know, you get a bunch of people together voting and like deciding on that. Like, that's what it's about, man. That's so much fun. There's so much, like I said, there's so much to do with the, the thinking outside the box. Like I said, what does this prompt mean? What does that mean? Like, you could take it this way, you could look at it this way. You're weighing out the types of people. Maybe you have experiences in these states. Maybe you know people from here. Maybe there's a headline that reminds you of something. There's all sorts of different variables that play into your decision making, and I think that's super fun. Now, like I said, I have plenty of other ideas for future content with this. Like I said, the sports version, the simulation version, where you have two territories going head to head, two teams. We'll just use the NFL as an example. You've got the Broncos versus the Arizona Cardinals. They go head to head, same kind of thing, but instead of the audience voting, it's determined by a head to head matchup, a simulation in the game, and then you choose there. So, there's a little bit less like input from the viewers, but still fun nonetheless. I think it's an interesting concept. Different territories are sort of involved because, of course, different states have different bits of state. California has multiple teams, things like that. So we have that aspect. And then, of course, there's another version that I have, and it's called Imperialism Dominion Edition. And I'm building out essentially my own version of Risk, essentially, or my own version of Civilization, maybe, or whatever you want to say. I guess Risk would probably be a better thing. But it's going to have where each state has an economy, has military strength, has ideology, a government style, religion, these types of things, resources. It's actually pretty cool. That one is going to be a bigger project, and it will be down the line a little bit before I get that debuted. But, like I said, the classic edition with the sports sims, like that's coming up pretty soon. But I figured, we're going to be running this version for a little bit. Why not debut my mechanics, the new mechanics? Like I said, the guys that do it are awesome. They have a lot of fun ideas, a lot of things that I'm definitely going to be taking inspiration from. But like I said, with the the rotating list, like I said, there's no arrow spin, there's no guesswork. It's done with precision. That's how I like it. It's excellent. It's good stuff. And yeah, man, no, that was fun. That was fun. I'm glad to finally, I almost didn't even go live today. I decided, went a little bit late. Normally I start about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Started a little bit after 9. Had a little bit of weird technical difficulties, but I was here. We made it happen, and it was good. Like I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad you had fun. Hopefully, everybody watching, in the future enjoys it. Whatever the case. We're 5 days away from Heshmas. My original plan, I was gonna do 12 days of Heshmas, but I don't know about that. I'm definitely looking at streaming on Christmas Day, Heshmas Day, and probably the weekend following, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thinking about it, probably do a little bit more Imperialism. I was thinking about starting another, a game or something, doing something. I have a couple of things in mind. Of course, I'm always open to suggestions. So I think it's cool. I think the Imperialism concept is a lot of fun. Oh, the other thing too is I'm going on the Tickety Talks at some point. I'm going to try that one straight up at some point. So if you don't follow me on all the socials, make sure to check it out. The link tree, all that. I know I have a shortcut for that, but I don't even remember what it is now. That's okay. Yeah. So I don't stream more than apparently like 3 times a year anymore. But I'm trying to change that. We're trying to get back in the groove. Things have been a bit of a roller coaster, up and down, different changes, different things like that. I'm hoping to get my tree up at some point. Trying to get back on trying to get back, with the background. Got stuff I got to move out of the way. It is what it is. Life is good. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are well. Everyone at home watching in the internet, in the land of the living. I don't know. Yeah. No, it feels good. I'm glad that I did it. Like I said, probably got more, you know, stuff coming up. And we should be in the old Oklahoma in a few months. Oh, hey, you know, that'll be good. That'll be good. Be good to you know, see the old friends and fam, of course. That'll be good. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think. I thought there was something else I was going to mention, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something. But yeah, I'm probably going to wrap it up here, man. It's been good. It's been good. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. Gonna be back at it again here in a couple days, few days, probably a Heshmas day. But I might, who knows, I might get a wild hair up my ass and go live at some other point in time. Maybe on the old tickety-tocketies. But hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Seriously, it made my night. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, well, until next time, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do the damn thing. So, in the meantime, peace.